450,000 years ago, Earth was not the world you know today. No cities, no civilizations, no written language, just primitive hominids struggling to survive in a world they barely understood. Then, from the skies, they came, the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. This isn't mythology. This is recorded in the oldest written texts humanity possesses, the Sumerian clay tablets. Texts that predate the Bible by thousands of years. Texts that scholars can't fully explain. But what if these weren't myths at all? What if the Anunnaki were real? And what if their arrival changed everything? This is their story, and it's your story too. The Sumerian tablets describe a planet called Nibiru, a massive celestial body with an elliptical orbit that brings it into our solar system every 3,600 years. On Nibiru lived an advanced race, the Anunnaki. They faced extinction. Their atmosphere was deteriorating. Cosmic radiation was destroying their world. They needed a solution, and they found it. Gold, not for jewelry, not for wealth. Gold particles could be dispersed into their upper atmosphere to reflect radiation and stabilize their dying planet. But Nibiru had exhausted its gold reserves, so they looked to the solar system, and they found Earth, a planet rich with gold, abundant in resources, but inhabited only by primitive life. Around 450,000 years ago, the first Anunnaki expedition arrived. They descended in the Persian Gulf region, modern-day Iraq, and established Eridu, Earth's first city, according to Sumerian records. The mission was clear: mine gold, save Nibiru, return home. But the plan didn't go as expected. The Anunnaki weren't a unified species. They were governed by a council, and two brothers would come to define humanity's fate. Enki, the scientist, the engineer, the geneticist. His name means Lord of Earth. He saw potential in this planet. He believed in progress through knowledge, evolution, and creation. Enlil, the commander, the enforcer, the ruler. His name means Lord of the Sky. He believed in order, hierarchy, and control. To him, Earth was a resource extraction site, nothing more. Initially, the Anunnaki themselves mined the gold. Deep underground, brutal labor, thousands of years of backbreaking work. The lower-ranking Anunnaki, the workers, began to rebel. They were exhausted. They refused to continue. The mission was failing. Enlil wanted to abandon Earth and return to Nibiru. But Enki had another idea. He looked at the primitive hominids roaming Earth, Homo erectus, and saw an opportunity. What if we could upgrade them, enhance their intelligence, make them capable of labor, create workers? Enlil was skeptical, but the rebellion left him no choice. Enki was given permission to proceed with the experiment, and this is where everything changed. The Sumerian tablets describe what happened next in shocking detail. Enki took the primitive hominid DNA and combined it with Anunnaki genetic material, not through mystical magic, through genetic engineering. The tablets even describe the process, extracting essence, combining it in a clay vessel, what we would call a laboratory process. The first attempts failed. Hybrid creatures that couldn't survive, mutations, errors. But then, success. The first modern human, Adamu, one who is of Earth. We call this Adam. And from Adamu's genetic material, more humans were created. A workforce, intelligent enough to follow instructions, strong enough to mine, obedient enough to serve. The Anunnaki called them Lulu, primitive workers. We call them Homo sapiens. For thousands of years, humans served the Anunnaki, mining gold, building cities, worshipping their creators as gods. Because to early humans, that's exactly what they were. Beings from the sky with incomprehensible technology, immense power, and control over life and death. But Enki began to see something Enlil didn't. He saw potential. He saw consciousness. He saw beings capable of more than servitude. And against Enlil's orders, Enki began to teach. This is where the Garden of Eden story originates. Enki, represented as the serpent in later texts, gave humans the forbidden fruit, not an apple, knowledge. He taught them agriculture, astronomy, mathematics, writing. He showed them how to build, how to think independently, how to become more than slaves. Enlil was furious. This wasn't the plan. Humans were supposed to be workers, not rivals. Giving them knowledge made them dangerous, unpredictable, harder to control. The conflict between Enki and Enlil escalated. Enki wanted humans to evolve. Enlil wanted them contained. Then something neither brother anticipated happened. The Anunnaki began breeding with humans. The tablets call them the Nephilim, those who came down. The Bible mentions them. The sons of God saw that the daughters of man were beautiful, and they took as their wives any they chose. Hybrid offspring, half Anunnaki, half human, giants, beings of immense strength and intelligence. This was the final straw for Enlil. Humans were no longer controlled workers. They were spreading, evolving, interbreeding with their creators. Enlil saw only one solution: total reset. Around 13,000 years ago, the Anunnaki knew Nibiru's orbit would cause massive gravitational disruptions, tidal waves, earthquakes, flooding on a global scale. Enlil saw an opportunity. Let the flood come. Let humanity drown. Start over with a clean slate. But Enki couldn't let his creation be destroyed. In secret, he warned a human named Sudra, who you know as Noah. He gave him instructions: build a vessel, save genetic samples, preserve knowledge. The flood came. Civilizations were wiped out. Millions died. But a remnant survived. The humans Enki saved, and with them, the knowledge he had passed down. When the waters receded, Enlil realized eradication had failed. Humanity endured. And so a new agreement was reached. The Anunnaki would step back, withdraw from direct rule, but they would leave systems in place, kings, priests, hierarchies, to maintain order in their absence. They returned to Nibiru, but they left behind bloodlines, hybrid descendants, rulers with Anunnaki genetics tasked with governing humanity. This is the origin of royal bloodlines, divine right of kings, the belief that some humans are chosen to rule because genetically they were. The Anunnaki didn't just vanish. They embedded themselves into every ancient culture. The Sumerians called them Anunnaki. The Egyptians called them Nibiru. The Greeks called them Titans. The Hindus called them Devas, different names, same beings, and the evidence is everywhere. Massive megalithic structures built with technology we can't replicate today. Pyramids aligned to star systems. Temples designed as astronomical computers. Knowledge of planetary cycles that primitive humans shouldn't possess. Sumerian tablets describe our solar system with accuracy, including planets not discovered until the 20th century. How did they know? Because they were told. The Anunnaki didn't just mine gold and leave. They left a blueprint, encoded in myths, hidden in symbols, preserved in bloodlines. And according to the texts, they're not gone. They're waiting. Nibiru's orbit will bring them back. Some say it already has. Some say they never left. They're just hidden, operating through proxies, bloodlines, secret societies. The ancient texts say when they return, there will be a reckoning, a judgment, a separation. Those who carry the activated DNA, the ones who remember, who awaken, who break free from the system, will ascend. The rest will remain. So the question isn't whether the Anunnaki were real. The question is, are you ready for their return?